Joining me today is someone who truly goes to bat for her clients, and trust me, she is as tough as they come. Iris is loyal, relationship focused, and brings persistence and passion to every single deal. She's a real gift for guiding clients through the process, especially when challenges come up. And when she's not fighting for her clients, she's a proud wife, mom, and grandmother to 7, so she can handle just about anything. Let's welcome my dear, dear friend, Iris Zettler. All right, I'm thrilled to have Iris Zettler from our team join us today. She is one of my favorite people in the whole industry, one of the favorite agents. She's super loyal and she's just a great all-around person. Iris, thanks for taking the time to jump on.
You're very welcome. Glad to be here. Glad to share my stories with you, Bob.
Yeah. Iris has been with us for a long time and maybe 10 or 11 years at this point. I think 2015, right? And but worked in the real estate industry before that, and then worked in some other industries leading up to that. Why don't you take a minute or 5 minutes or however long you need, sort of share how you got started in the business, kind of a little bit what you were doing before, and then, a little bit about kind of joining our team, if you don't mind.
Okay. Originally, I wanted to start in real estate long time ago. I've been around a while. And so when my kids were real little, I decided I went to real estate school, took the course for the whole time, and we were ready to get the exam. I was told, don't expect to see any money for about a couple of months till, you put things under contract, till you start seeing money. And at that time, my kids were babies. I needed babysitters. I had to pay for money. This is not going to work.
Yep.
So believe it or not, I went into the car business and I was a manager in a car dealership. From there, I, believe it or not, left there and went into mortgages. So I do have a big background in mortgages. I did that for a while. When my kids were older and finally off to college and out of high school and things like that, I'm like, okay, now I'm free. I'm going to do that real estate that I always wanted to do.
Yep.
Went back, did the real estate, took my exam. I said I have to pass it because that's how I got into real estate.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then you worked at another firm before joining us, and a little bit of background. Obviously, I knew your husband, Andy, great guy, great loan officer. If people need a mortgage, they can contact him. And as you heard, Iris has great knowledge in that area as well from past life. How about a little bit of that process, transitioning from one brokerage to another, one team to another, and what that looked like for you?
Yeah, I started out in another team right out of real estate school, not knowing any different. I worked for somebody who's a little psycho, to say the least, to be nice about it. That was demanding, all of you have to report, you have to do this, you have to do that. And when I started getting experience and I was working with actually a friend of mine to buy a house and he wanted me to drop her. And I'm like, no, I was insistent on following through. You know me, Bob, I don't give up.
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
The hardest
loyal and persistent.
The hardest deals I'll tackle on, if there's an ounce of just being able to follow through and make this work, I will try. I have to know that I gave it my all.
Yeah.
And so I refused to listen to him. And of course, the deal did fall apart, but not until the end. And he said, see, you didn't listen to me. And so I'm like, that's it. I can't be with this anymore. And luckily at that time, my husband knew you and said, Bob is starting a team and, would you be interested? And it was the best move I ever made, which is why you asked me why I'm loyal, because I've been with others and, people that start out of the business going on your team don't realize how good it is and how spoiled they could be.
Wow. Thank you. We can end the podcast then. It's perfect. It's a great episode. And we'll move you up the rankings of who's favorite now. I'm just kidding. Listen,
when we've moved from office to office, it was never a question of the brokerage. It was a question of working with you, working with the team. The team is great. We have the best people on our team. I mean, every single one of us contributes something. We all help each other out. It's the best.
Yeah, I would say that. And I typically we talk about this with team members that we're on, but maybe we'll just kind of go out of order and talk about it now. Like it has been, honestly awesome for me to see. Right. And when you started, we were less than a year into having a team, maybe about a year into having a team at that point. It was Tony and Anthony that were with us, one other who's no longer with us. And, it was, them trying to figure it out. All right, well, when am I putting my hat on as production? What am I giving you? Right? Like, why do you want to be on this team? It's the question I always ask. And it means a lot in seeing that transition. I mean, why don't you talk a little bit about, you've seen it basically almost from the beginning. I mean, Tony and Anth were here before you, but the others that were here are no longer in the business. Talk about that, like kind of how the team has evolved and some of the things that you've seen.
Yeah, exactly. And just to go back, we had a saying, my first team that I was at, though, another one bites the dust. Nobody could ever stay. I was the only one that lasted for like a couple of years with that team. But here, everybody, I mean, when we were over originally at Berkshire the first time, if you remember correctly, there were agents on other teams that would see us come out of meetings, laughing, having fun, joking with one another, supporting each other, and they only wanted to be on our team.
Yeah.
And they left other teams to come with us because we get along. And, and it starts at the top. I know you don't want to hear it, but it is true. It starts at the top, and we all have a great time, whether it's, supporting each other on helping each other out when we go on vacations and covering each other, or sharing deals. When perfect example is Anthony's working with me on this commercial deal.
Yeah.
I can sell buildings. I've done, commercial deals, but I have never sold a business. This particular one has a business, including the real estate.
Yep.
So Anthony's got the business background. I'll call on him.
Yeah.
He'll help me with the business. When I had a deal in Jersey, I'm not licensed in Jersey. Michelle's licensed in Jersey. Yep. She would drive an hour each way, anything, and we work the deal together. It's great to work with everybody.
Yeah. It's awesome for me to see that too, because it's, I would say people are on our team, from what I hear from other team leaders and other people I know in the industry, a little bit more generous, instead of saying, oh, I'm going to go do that. And maybe they're kind of like not kind of meeting the measure on the service to the client. Everyone here is open and easy enough to say, like, hey, it's great, I'm going to take care of you, I'm your person. But in Jersey, instead of us kind of like, let's tap in somebody else, we'll all share on that, and we'll just make sure the client has the best experience. And same thing with the commercial stuff with Anth. Yeah, it's really neat to see. It's really cool. And you kind of spearhead that for our team all the time. So thank you for doing that.
Well, it's important. I mean, there are times, listen, I have a family, I'm proud of being a grandmother.
Yeah, absolutely.
Seven grandchildren.
Just seven.
And Gina just started. Maybe she
no pressure.
So I need time for my grandchildren. I like to be able to go to the baseball games on the weekends, go and support them. When my daughter had her baby recently, if I have medical needs and I need time off, and we're always there for each other's back to cover each other. And that's real important to me. Yeah. So I know, and the other ones that, I know most of the people on the team are young enough to be my kids, but they have little kids themselves. Yeah. You have teenagers that you want to go on college trips. We have a life outside of this also. And so we all have to be there, and we all understand that.
Yeah. And there's other people I know that that I would say, quote unquote, friends of the team that I know that work at other brokerages or even within our brokerage, that they're trying to manage all that on their own. And it's a challenge, right? You have to live your life at some point. If you want to be successful, you have to put a lot of work into it, but sometimes you have family stuff to be at. I have a senior day coming up in a couple of weeks for my daughter. I will be at that field for a few hours, and that's just what it is. It doesn't matter if it's a $5 million property or anything else. For those couple hours, I'm blocked off, and it's okay. But if you need something for real estate, here's all these people that can fill in and help you out for that.
Right.
Amount of time. Yeah. Right. Yeah. It's cool. When you think about real estate, Iris, with you, like one of the questions I've been dying for you to come on to ask you is, I see the way you kind of care for buyers, especially buyers and sellers, both. But when I see you with buyers, is there a client that you get, like, forget about the money, we all want to sell like $100 million house, but is there a client you get the most satisfaction of helping in the process?
100%. Believe it or not, I know the ones with a lot of money, are easy, and that's where you make all your money. But the ones that are struggling and the ones that are first time home buyers, I think I could relate to first time home buyers because I think of my kids also
Yeah.
when they were first starting out and struggling and trying to and not understanding. So I'd love to be able to work through the steps, have them feel confident. Listen, I'll guide you. I'm there to represent you. I always tell buyers all the time, I don't sell homes. I work for you as your representative. So whatever your interests are is my interests. Whatever works best for you works best for me. I mean, that's what I care about the most. And I think you're right. Probably maybe that goes more towards buyers than, I mean, sellers, yes, I do too, but I guess I feel a lot of empathy towards buyers.
Yeah, yeah, it comes through to me. Like it clearly comes through to me, like guiding those people through. And on the sell side too, when people, I know you've helped people in a lot of really challenging and tough situations, whether it be a death of a parent or a spouse, or a divorce situation, or some financial distress. Like you've stepped in and, we joked about it earlier, take on those tough deals that a lot of other agents shy away from. But you do a great job kind of pouring into those people and getting them all the way through the finish line.
Yeah, I get a lot of satisfaction in doing that. I'm working right now on that one deal. It's that the one I have, I'm representing the seller,
Yeah.
and I have a couple of people, new buyers that want the hat property right now, and I'm pushing and pushing to try and get what I can for him.
Mm.
Yeah, I totally understand that, but yeah, I guess I do have a little bit of more empathy for those buyers that are struggling.
Yeah. That's great. Let's continue on buyers. I ask all of our agents the same thing. Like, if you were going to give a couple tips to buyers who are just starting out the process, whether they're brand new or whether they haven't bought a house in a decade plus, if we're meeting for the first time today, what are a couple things that you're telling them that are important?
The first thing to do is, if you are going to be financing, that's how I feel 100%, especially being married to a mortgage broker and having done mortgages in the past.
Yes.
You need to be, the more educated you are, the better the process is going to be for you, for me, for the seller, for everybody. So do all your homework first. I mean, I hate meeting somebody, showing them a property for $500,000 to only find out, guess what? They fall in love with it. Then they speak to somebody and find out they can only afford 300.
Right.
So find out first, oh yeah, I can afford a $3,000 payment. Well, guess what? The bank won't give you a mortgage for $3,000. That's not how it works.
Right.
Understand how it works with taxes. If you're going to be putting down less, if you need an escrow, I love, you have to work through and get all of your information beforehand. Work with a mortgage company that will work with you and teach you all of that, explain everything to you. Don't just walk into your local bank and they say to you, okay, fine, you're approved for blah, 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 and don't explain anything. I need you to understand everything about the process.
Yeah. That's great. That's great as a first tip. And what do you typically tell people? I know that I have a style that I go through when I'm talking with buyers who are just starting out, whether they've bought a house with us before, or they're just starting out brand new, or they're young, or they're older, or whatever the case may be. If you get any like resistance and like, well, listen, I just really love that neighborhood and I know that we can afford it. What's like a not like an objection handler, but like kind of a small objection handler of like, kind of, do you give them a lesson or a story or anything you try to kind of nudge them in the right direction of getting that process started earlier in the home buying process?
Well, first I'm trying to find out what they're trying to accomplish. Do they need a certain school district?
Yeah.
Do they need, I have a buyer right now who's pregnant, and I know she's expecting her first child. Her goal is her husband has to work from home. But just finding out what their needs are. Why do you want that particular neighborhood? Maybe you could move out a little bit further and get that same house a little bit less expensive, maybe less taxes. Find out what their goals are. Their goals are the most important thing.
Of course. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Yeah. And I do think that I've noticed this over the years, and all of our team's great, but I do know that after you meet with buyers, you sit down and kind of talk through the process, whether it's in person or on a phone call or whatever, when you go through the steps of sort of the agreement of sale, like, hey, here's the order of operations of, we're going to get pre-approved, We're going to set up your search, make sure we set it up the right way. You ask all those probing questions. Why are we looking where we're looking? Price range stuff kind of falls back onto the mortgage part. And then other pain points. Do you find it sometimes it's a little eye-opening to buyers when you start getting into sort of the paperwork stuff of all the steps of the transaction? Do you find that kind of does both things? It sort of puts them at ease and opens their eyes to sort of what's involved in buying a house?
Yeah, but I assure them, I know you're great with a lease, with our administrator, with making sure, and I tell them, the first thing that's going to happen is you're going to get tons of emails from the office. Yeah. And there's going to be, you can put them in your calendar if you're comfortable and you want to follow through. If not, that's what my job is. Yeah. Count on me. You're not going to get breach the contract. I will walk you step by step and tell you what to do. If you need an inspector, I'll suggest that. If you do need the mortgage person, I can suggest that. Yeah. Whatever you need, that's my goal, and that's what I try and walk you through. And you're right. And I tell them the easy part was finding the house and getting the contract. The hard part is what they're going to be going through. And I warn them ahead of time, especially if they're going to be mortgaging, that, how difficult it's going to be.
Yeah, so, mortgages, appraisals, the whole 9 yards. We had all those. We was on the phone right before we started with dealing with a couple questions that came up on an appraisal for a few conditions that have to be met.
Exactly, and now that we do DocuSign on a lot of our contracts, I literally will get on the phone with them, especially if it's a first-time home buyer, and walk them through every step of the contract as they're doing it.
Yeah.
I will explain all of the documents. I will explain what I send to the selling agent, what we need for our office, et cetera, and break down and why we do everything that we do.
Yeah. You do a good job kind of shepherding them through the transaction, through the process, for sure. There was a lot on buyers. How about on the seller side? Are there a couple things that you think are sort of staples? If you're someone who's listening to this and you're getting ready to list your home, and you're going to call Iris because she's great, by the way. All of our information's in the notes below. But you're going to call Iris. What are they going to hear from you? What are you kind of telling every seller? Like, hey, these 3 things or 5 things or 2 things. What are some of the staples for you when you're meeting with sellers?
Well, the first thing when I go to meet with them is I try and get some comps so that because I know number one is price. Well, how much am I going to get for my house? Okay. Sure. And then I show them the pictures. I show them what the other houses are getting. Obviously, I'll do a walkthrough with them, maybe make some suggestions about maybe, paint this, do this, clean up everything. Everybody wants something clear. I mean, if I have a seller who is moving out of town, for instance, if they can at all, or if they've already purchased their other house, get out first. I always advise them, let's move out if you can afford to do it, and let's put your house on the market after you're out of here. The selling process is really not fun. People coming through your house, cleaning up. You have kids, you have animals. It's a hassle. I don't, I'm honest with it. It's not going to be easy. Yeah. So like I'm saying, if you can possibly do that at all, do it. If we can financially find a way to do it, it's not always easy, but
Yeah. Absolutely. I say to clients all the time, I feel like you have a string in my back and there's like 10 sayings I say all the time. And I always tell them the worst thing about having your house on the market is having your house on the market. None of us live in a show ready house, no matter if you're the biggest clean freak in the world listening, like you just don't live in a show ready house. And having people come through, if it's once or twice, it's not a big deal. But when we have those listings, especially, the market the past couple of years where the inventory has been really thin, we have those listings where you're just bombarded that first weekend. I have people this weekend where kind of urge them, if you can kind of get away for Saturday and Sunday, it might be a good idea, or Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, if they can, right? Every family is different.
Again, it depends on the location. If you know it's an area that, you're going to sell fast and you might have some bidding wars, but as well as I do, we get some that might sit on the market for a little while. And so, they have to be prepared for it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Let's talk about that from the seller side. When you have a listing, because you've been through, like me, all the markets, the ups and downs, the things are going really hot, things are not. People forget there's a world where it takes a couple months to sell a house. That's not like a crazy market, but it's crazy compared to the last couple of years. What are some things you tell sellers when you have a listing that's just maybe it's stale, maybe you're struggling to get traffic on it, or they're having a hard time selling it at the number they're at. What are some of the things you walk through with sellers in that scenario?
Well, if I go in, you could usually tell when you walk in right away. Yeah, this is going to be a quick seller. This is going to be a not. You know as well as I do.
Sure.
Everybody loves the beautiful house.
Yeah.
Okay, the one that's gorgeous. But you're not going to tell a seller to go in and put $20,000 into the house to start out with, and hoping. I mean, but again, it depends on the area. It depends on the price point. If it just takes a little, maybe painting or whatever, we'll reassess the house.
Mm-hmm.
I've gone in and I look at feedback, and I show every feedback to the seller. Yeah. Why aren't you interested in the house? Oh, well, I don't have the money to rebuild that deck, and the deck looks like some of the wood. So let's put some new wood in. Or we'll call Anthony's my great go-to.
Yeah.
And Anthony, oh my God, poor Anthony. I drive him nuts because he does a lot of my fixer-uppers and just sometimes simple things that could be aesthetic that you don't have to put a fortune into. But the feedback from your the people that have come through the house are really important, and we look at that. And maybe we are too pricey at that time. You remember when we went through COVID? Well, we couldn't even show houses then.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really, really hard. So and houses would sit. So we do what we have to, but we just go in and reassess the house. And if it has to be lowered, it has to be lowered. It also depends upon the seller. Do they have to sell it right now?
Right.
Are they anxious? Can they sit on it and wait for a while?
Yeah.
It depends on what their situation is also.
Yeah, that's good. Tailored solutions always the best answer for the service for the client. Like, what are they looking to do? A lot of times we talk about price, and price is important. I say that all the time. I mean, I sit at listing appointments, and I'll say you can find a prettier face than mine, but that price is going to be the thing that markets this house better than a lot of the agents. So let's make sure that we are kind of aligned on price. And I do that with sellers all the time. I know you have over the years too, where if you're meeting with someone and they don't have to move for job, for family, for whatever the case may be, but hey, if we get this number, we would sell it. We make a business decision. Yeah, we'll partner up on that with you. We'll market the house, and we know it might not be a quick sale. I think where a lot of agents who get into trouble in our industry is they don't have that. They're a little nervous or shy about having open communication about the price. Right? You have to.
Right.
And you certainly are fine doing that. When you have a seller, not on a listing appointment, but let's say you've taken a listing and it's a little higher, or the seller wants to price it high, and you're not getting traffic. What are some things that you kind of tell them about what's going on with the market? Are you showing them comps? Are you taking them to any properties? Like, what are some things? How do you handle that when you have sellers where you have a big discrepancy on price?
Yeah, well, I usually go in if I'll always list the price, and I'll tell them the pros and the cons, both sides. What if we do it lower and maybe we'll get a bidding war? What if we go it higher? You're putting people out of the market. And so I'll go in there and I'll list it at what, listen, it's their thing. They want it. They're going in educated. They know the pros and cons, and I'll list it whatever they want. If it's been sitting for a while, and I'll tell them ahead of time, let's wait a couple of weeks. Let's see what happens. If nothing, let's start moving it down a little bit, because what happens is you get to a certain price point and you start knocking people out of that thing. So say hypothetically, we're listing it at 500, and there are people that are going up to 475 or whatever. So and we can lower it to 475, maybe bring in all those 475 buyers now, but at 500, we're knocking them out.
Yeah. And a lot of times when you do that, what happens is, and we've seen that in this market too, where things are still moving pretty quick, but you have a couple that are taking 3 or 4 weekends, then they lower the price, then they'll get 2 buyers bidding up, and then you get the better terms out of it.
Exactly. So they end up getting their price anyway.
Yeah. They'll end up getting there eventually. Cool. You've had a lot of transactions. We joke around a lot because you've had a couple challenging transactions over the year. You've helped people through short sales. You've helped people through bankruptcies. You've done commercial deals. You've done residential deals. Is there one that sticks out in your mind as hey, here's a really tough transaction, and kind of here's how you got through it, without sort of naming names?
Yeah, I had a short. Well, okay, okay, Bob. We're laughing because I know you know what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Even Megan, the title, mentioned
Yeah.
to me a
She's
couple
great.
of years ago.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. I had one where the seller was. There were three people that owned the house.
Yep.
One was in jail.
Yep.
One was the woman who lived there. Her husband was the one in jail, and her brother was the builder.
Yeah.
And every time we needed a doc to be signed, again, I represented the buyer. Every time
Yeah.
we needed a doc to be signed, it had to go to the jail to sign it.
He was the most responsible one, by the way.
Right. He's the only one. They didn't know where any docs were. He's the only one that knew where everything was.
Yep.
He knew, and I guess he must have taken out his second mortgage on the house that the wife and the brother did not know about. And we go to settlement, and their agent,
Yep.
who I won't mention, and
Yep.
this was very unethical,
Yep.
did not tell them ahead of time that there was a second lien out for $50,000.
Yeah, insanity.
And did not. I mean, you have to be so open and honest with your people. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the most important thing about being a realtor.
Of course, yeah.
So they go and they sign off everything, and they go, "Why is the check $50,000 less?" I guess they just trusted him that he would. He goes, "Don't worry, we'll talk about it later."
I will never forget because I was in the room. That was
right.
A wild setting. Just 50K missing.
And we all looked at each other like, "What the heck?"
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean. I have another one I want to just say real quick.
Yeah, please.
Sold a house in Westchester.
Yeah.
The woman had cancer,
Mm.
and she was in treatment, and so she was always really sick. So she couldn't come to the settlement. And I had this crazy agent, this buying agent.
Oh, yeah.
That she needed to move to an apartment, by the way. She needed the funds from there. Her husband had passed away, and so she needed to move into an apartment. And he would go there behind my back, not telling me, and be taking her and looking at apartments, because I found out later on that, yeah, he gets a commission from the apartment complex.
Yeah.
A rental.
Whatever it is, a couple bucks.
Yeah. Anyway, whatever. I didn't really care about that.
Yeah.
She was taken care of. I worried about her.
Yeah.
And while we're sitting at the settlement, I call her just to go over everything and make sure everything's okay. And she says to me, she says, the buying agent has his contractors here. I go, what are they doing? She goes, they're digging in my garage. They're looking for something. I don't even remember. It was so long ago. I don't remember what they were looking for. I go, what are you talking about? She goes, oh, I thought you knew about it. I look at him and I go, how could you do this? This poor woman is sick with cancer. She's under chemo.
Yep.
She's take advantage of her like this and just send these contractors. And she had no idea. Yeah. So we signed everything, walked away because she had signed everything ahead of time. I go, you're not getting your deposit back.
Yeah. Yep.
And I just kept it. We kept it for like 6 months. I think we had to do it for the 6-month thing. And I just did it to be, because he was just obnoxious.
Yeah. And that was a big time agent and team too. That was I remember talking to him at one point during that process.
He's a big time agent out in Westchester.
Yeah. It's important who you matter. I'm sorry. It's important who you matter. It matters who you hire. It's important that you trust them. If I could speak English, that would be helpful.
Right. Yeah. And I basically, I told him he was being unethical. And after I said that to him, I guess he thought I was going to bring him up before the real estate commission. Yeah. So he refused to answer me or write me or everything after that. Just, nothing was in writing anymore. I didn't do anything, but she was just happy she got her money, and that's all that mattered. But wasn't too nice.
It's clear that you've been through the wars and you have all the battle scars from all of it. One of the things that I like to talk about on here. And you do a great job with this. So, I always tell you thank you. Anyway, thank you. You do a great job with this with everyone who joins our team. If you were talking to somebody who was thinking about getting their real estate license now, or they're an experienced agent that's struggling, what's a couple tips that you kind of give to agents to kind of get themselves going again in the business? Like, what do you think is important?
I'm real strong on being on a team because you don't get, because yes, the brokerage they'll give you all of the information you need, but you really need support, which is why, yeah, I mean, I have enough experience to be on my own if I wanted to, long
Sure.
time ago.
Yeah.
But the support you get from the team, and you know as well as I do, every deal is different. How many times, even after all these years, do I'll call you and I'll say, Bob, what do I do in this situation? I'll bounce things off of you all the time.
Yeah.
And so it's just important. I mean, I think, yes, I might have started on this crazy team, the other team that I was on, but I learned a lot.
Sure.
I mean, you just need the support. I mean, when I went to get off of that team, the broker on that company asked me to stay stay as a sole agent.
Yeah.
Um, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
The team concept to me, and of course the right team, is real important. And for a new agent, you need the support. You need someone to stand there. I remember you going with me on my first couple of sales or whatever, if I needed help or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's important. That's
Yeah.
the number one, I would say.
Yeah, still do it for a lot of agents on the team who are great agents, and they just want to bounce the ideas off us. And for me, that's honestly my favorite thing about one being on our team and being the team leader is it's not just, oh, a new agent has questions. It could be anyone. Yeah, agents who do more business, I feel like, always have more. You have more stuff going on, so there's more stuff we haven't. You learn something new every day in this business. It's great.
Yeah, well, I brought in one of the new agents.
Hims, yeah,
right, and he was a real estate agent in India.
yeah.
So it's not like but it's totally different. I mean,
Yeah.
and I expressed to him, how important it was to be on a team, and he knew that too.
Yeah, and he's doing great. He started with us when like late last summer, early fall. He's done a number of deals. He has a couple of investors that he's working with. He just put up his first listing the other day, and he even needed help. Your first time going through it. You learn all that stuff in Bright the first week, but you're not using it. So, it was the first time he's putting up his own listing and just kind of walking through that. Here's what it looks like on our team. Every team operates differently, but on our team, like, here's how you order photos. Here, you'll get them back, and this is like a typical time frame, and the lockbox, and then entering the information in the Bright, and then after that, the next day, he had to go through. Yesterday, I was helping him out with showing time because he entered the listing really late the night before.
Paperwork,
entering the instructions, and all that stuff is great. And he's been a great addition to the team. Yeah.
And the other thing is, when you say somebody else that's just going in there blindly, took their real estate exam, passed it and everything, what you learn in the class and what you learn, you study for, has nothing to do with what'll happen in real life. I mean, again, it's dealing with people. You have to be willing to dealing with the public. That it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah.
And it's sales any way you look at it. So you have to be able to know how to, work with people and work, with each individual, whether they're, hard to work with, easy to work with. I have easiest clients in the world, and the toughest ones in the world.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're, and to be fair too, like, we're getting people sometimes at really challenging moments of their life. But, if they have some family pressures going on, or a job move or something like that, or, oh my God, we got to get, junior into school before the school year starts. That's stressful. And then even if it's not, packing up a house to move isn't fun. It's not
Right.
It's not a great time. No, the destination is usually great. If you're moving up, or, hey, we've raised a family here and now we want to get into that adult 55 and downsize. That's great. Like, all those things are great, but the process is a stressful one. It's a ton of money. So,
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of our job. Like I say all the time, like, you have to know the paperwork. You have to have all the people skills and sales skills for when we're negotiating, but you have to have like a little psychology kind of hat in there somewhere too, in your drawer for all the jobs that we do during the day. You're
Right.
you're getting people at different moments of their life, and it's that can be taxing.
Exactly. And when you work with young people, I have a young couple I'm working with right now, and she keeps texting me. She goes, "My mom said to ask this. My mom said, my dad." And I go, "Why did you bring them with you on showings?" I welcome that, because again, if they're buying something and the parents are behind them and they support them at it, it makes it easier for them, more comfortable with the buying process. And I said, just bring them. I like parent. Listen, I'm a parent.
Yeah.
I know, I guided my own kids on their own housing. So,
Yeah, you handle that. That's a thing too for like if any general public's watching this. There's a lot of memes about the dad showing up to the home inspection, causing all types of problems, right, in our world. But you welcome that, and Iris, I will tell you, you handle that the same way I do. If that person's important to you, our job is not to replace mom or dad. Get the hell out of here. We're not doing that. We're just helping you kind of get through the real estate transaction, and we're masters about it. We're great, so make no mistakes about it. We're going to know that process probably better than your mom or dad will. But trust them. They've owned a house. You already have trust with them. Bring them along. Have them part of the process. The agents who struggle with that, I feel like they're putting up this like guarded wall, and it's like, hey, whatever's best for the client. If they want to have the approval of the mom or the dad or the uncle who can, change a ceiling fan for a case of beer, bring them into the process so you feel better about what you're buying or selling.
I had one, you talked about it, who they left a couple of items in the basement, trash that the seller should have thrown out. And so the dad was like flipping out. This is supposed to be broom, whatever. And they shouldn't have left it. I literally called the agent from the walkthrough, tell him to, and the seller came over and took out the trash while we were still sitting in there, because the father was flipping out on it. So whatever. I says, okay, if you just, because I even said to them, all you have to do is put it at the corner when you move in. Just pick it up, a couple of the chairs or whatever they are. No, they weren't. Okay, fine. I'm not going to argue with you. Whatever.
Yeah. And that's maybe a good call to the public. Be a good partner in the transaction. You are buyer and seller. You are partners for, whatever, 60 days, 45 days, 90 days, depending on it. Be nicer to each other. Do all your stuff to get your mortgage. If you're on the buy side, do your stuff a favor as a seller. Keep the house clean so we can have a clean transaction.
The kids didn't care. The kid said it was Dad, I'll just throw it out on the corner. No. That's okay. I'm not going to argue. Let's just get rid of it now.
Yeah. Well, you touched on Iris. You touched on your family life. So obviously, you and Andy have a great family, great kids. You now have grandkids. I know it's a big part of your life. For people who are kind of just hearing from you for the first time, share a couple things that are important to you. A little bit of family stuff, a little bit of stuff that you and Andy like to do, and you like to do a little bit of travel. Share some of that stuff.
The most important thing to me is once a year we have a family vacation.
Yeah.
This year it's going to be Ocean City, Maryland.
Nice.
And we took out, I have one of my sons lives in Virginia. He has 3 kids. The other one's in Bluebell with 3 kids, and my daughter just had her first. Yeah. So we literally have a single family house with 3 apartments in it. So we're each going to have our own apartment. Yeah, but we do it every year. We've gone all over. Andy and my boys love to play golf.
Yeah.
So they play golf all the time. We just came back from Kiowa Island. We were there for a couple of days. My son was down there with his kids. So I figured me and Andy would get away for a couple of days too, which was really nice. So, but other than that, I enjoy going to my girls, the girls dance recitals, their classes, which is my daughter grew up, that she grew up as a dancer.
Yeah.
And she was in the professional life. She was in the movies and whatever and singing. And so the boys hated going to her performances growing up. And now both of them each have 2 girls that are both in dance. So I love to tease them. They have PTSD from their dance. Yeah, exactly. One of them, the little, she just turned 5, is trying out for competition now.
Yeah.
And he flipped out. But his boy is all right to play soccer, baseball, and golf. He's playing all 3 of them right now. He's in travel soccer, travel golf, and his baseball team.
Yeah.
So that's okay. But I try and go to the games as much as I can. And like I said, we do our family vacations and whatever.
Yeah. And these kids and grandkids will run all of us crazy, because it's funny. You mentioned dance. My daughter used to do dance, and she's a softball player. But like the sports parents kind of like lose sight that like, hey, these kids that are doing some other activities, they may be playing an instrument, they may be doing dance or something. Maybe they're a mathlete, right? They're just wicked smart and are doing stuff with that. Like it's all a lot of work, and it's all a lot of time, and it's all a lot of money that you're putting into it. And it takes the village, right? Like I know when my guys were little, shoot, without my mom and my in-laws helping out, there were days we just weren't going to get to stuff. So I know you like relish being in that role now.
Exactly. When my daughter had the baby, I was there practically every day for a while. The baby just turned 4 months, and so and she used to live out in California, and I'm like, I wonder how. She says to me all the time, Mom, I don't know how I would have made it if I was out in California by ourselves out there, because her in-laws live in Florida. So, she would have had, it's hard. You really do. You really need everybody around you.
Yeah. For sure. You do. All right. Well, Iris, before we wrap up here, any parting words, anything that we missed, or anything that people should know about you if they're hiring you as an agent to represent them, whether they're selling or buying?
The best thing I can tell you is that I will do my best to represent you as if it was my own. And that's what I tell everybody. If I'm selling the house, I'm selling it. I would sell it just like it was my own. If I'm representing you to buy the house, if it's an older couple like mine or like me, go into it, and I have many clients that are looking at over 55s. Well, I'm right there. Yeah. I can relate 100%. If it's young kids looking for their first time or moving up, I've had that with my kids, their first time homes, and then they've sold those and moved on up too. Yeah. So I can relate, and that's what I do. I mean, that's basically what I try and do.
Yeah. We'll have all of your information in the show notes or in the comments below, depending on where people are listening to this. But I can't thank you enough for over the years, your loyalty, your friendship, your mentorship, your family to me. And I really appreciate everything that you kind of bring to this team and represent for everybody on the team. And it means the world to me.
Well, it's been the world to me too.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up and we'll catch everybody next time.
Okay. Thanks, Bob.
Thanks for checking out Know Your People. If you enjoyed this episode, do us a favor. Follow or subscribe on your favorite platform. Leave a quick rating and tell a friend to check us out. You can find us on social media at Bob Kelley Team across all platforms. And if you want to connect with our team or today's guest, the info is in the description below. Go show some love.